Welcome back. We are now down to DS9 and I'm going to be over the ship selector. First thing I probably need to do is strip all the freaking gear off of this thing. Wish there was a nice button that says strip all gear, and I would have been like, yes, thank you very much. So I'm going to go through the unequip spree, which I'm sure you probably all enjoy this. You know what, I'm just going to cut this part of the video off before I do anything else. How about that? You'll know I'm unequipping stuff. Blah, 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 yakety schmack. What I'm going to do is turn this Galaxy into a torp boat, and I'm going to build it from the ground up, and you're going to see exactly what my logic or illogic is in that type of train of thought. I'm going to keep that battery there just because. Since this is going to be a quantum phase build, you know what? Let's just keep the theme of that going. How about that? I'm going to make this Federation style quantum build. So, quantum phase, you stay put. You go into 4. Console with that. You stay put. You also go in the 4 slot. There. I've already answered my first question. What type of build do I want? I want a canon quantum build. Light on the energy. Heavy on the torps. So that means that this Omni that I just took off also goes back on. And that this phaser with, where's the over one? Where is the one that has over on it? I know some people say over is bad, but it's also fun. I'll put that on here as well. There. We have that. So now I get to decide what else do I want with this bad boy. So with these 4 slots here, it actually is pretty good. It gives it enough oomph. I can start stacking torpedo consoles on there. And in this case, what I want is I want exploiters. Again, because I'm running the Psi Ultimate, I want to have the ability to throw down as much crit D as possible so that I can actually make use of all the heavy hitting that I can do with this ship, and the crit hit then will come from the actual trait, the ability itself. So I don't have to worry about stacking crit hit. And even though it says once every 2 minutes, with the window of opportunity on there, it's like once a minute and a half. I get, for 30 seconds, I get 50% crit hit. I save that for my big wind up and go. So here's what we're going to do. 4 of these bad boys I need off of here. So off of this ship. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There you are. So those are the 4 that are going to be on there. I will also need, for the 2-piece bonus here, and again, attempting to keep this thing within the canon realm, I'm going to get the Terran 2-piece bonus of the ferrofluid console and the torpedo to keep not only a photon on there as well, but the 2-piece Terran bonus. I've also got the 2-piece Delta Ordnance with the neutronic torpedo and the binaural gel pack. Lobby console here, Rule 62. You can supplement that with a couple other consoles here. I also have the binaural infusion circuits, another Lobby console. There are a couple free consoles you can get that would help. One of the episodes that gives you the hang up on it, the resonant disruptor will also have a console you could use there in its place, and it'll help a little bit. It's not terribly great, but it's not bad either. So you can use that. Let me see, what else do I need here? Deuterium surplus. Now I got plenty of kinetic batteries, but I'll just take this off just so I can put it on there. Won't need that. You can use this as a free warp core until you can get one of the rep ones. Temporal phase overcharge core. It's nice, for cooldowns because you get that 50% bridge officer ability recharge time reduction for 15 seconds. Pretty damn nice for your buffs. Especially when you need command to come back up ASAP. 2-piece a Mako set obviously is a no-brainer on this one here. So let me equip all this fun stuff first. 1, 2, 3, 4. These bad boys go in my science. Stick this in engineering. I have plenty of consoles over there I could start putting in there. The Terran, I can decide if I want it fore or aft. In this case, just to keep with the theme, I'll probably put it aft and put a quantum fore. Have a crafted quantum here. Although, technically, I probably want to put that up there and deal with the other things, but nah. We're going to do with the quantum up front and then the Terran on the aft. And then that means I got one more slot here I can do for whatever. If I wanted isokinetic cannon, I can do this, but again, that won't make it purely cannon, so let me keep that thing cannon. But you do have options if you don't want to put yourself in on a cannon-only build, as in cannon with one end as seen on TV. So, back to the stripping of this ship in order to get what I want here. And I went with the counter command in order to have a little bit more projectile damage. But it's not as much as what it was prior to 11.5. So any decent deflector in there, like if you wanted to do with more part gens, more Drain X, which will probably help with this. If you want more Drain X, you probably want to go with, do I have it here? Yes, I do. You want to go with a Terran Task Force deflector, which you can see 60 Drain expertise, and it also has an improvement to Science Bridge Officer cooldowns, which would be pretty nice here if you want a quicker hazard emitters, quicker destabilized resonance beam on this specific ship, which is what I'm going to do. So yeah, we're going to go with this one. We're going to go with this deflector on the ship. And since we're going to go up with Tholians, I want to have anti-Tholian shutdown mechanics in place. Where is that bloody core where I had it last time? No, I put it on this ship here. No, I didn't. Where did air? It's right here. Here we go. The Iconian Resistance Core. The only reason I ever got this core here is to have the hot restart for weapons offline. That is a lifesaver, especially in CCA. So instead of waiting 4+ seconds in order for your weapons to come back up, it's 1 second, boom, your stuff comes back up. If you have 0 weapon power, you are not firing anything. It doesn't matter, it's torps, mines, whatever. 0 weapon power equals nothing. With 5 weapon power, even 1 weapon power, you can fire torpedoes. So you're good with that. If you wanted a little bit more defensive mechanics, you could get with a 2-piece Iconian core and shield. The shield also has a hot restart to shields and removes 1 debuff every 10 seconds, which helps you in stuff like Borg or anything else that does a lot of debuffing on you. It also gives you a 2-piece bonus for a little bit of shield enhancement, which would be nice if you wanted to be a little bit more tanky. In this case, what I wanted was more deeps with more drain. So I will go with the Terran Deflector and then I'll go with the standard of the Advanced Mako engine and the Advanced Mako, adapted, not advanced, adapted Mako shields, which I thought I had somewhere around here. Doobie doobie doo. Right there, I thought so. Okay, so you see right now as it stands, I have 2 slots here in engineering. What the heck am I going to do with those 2? I have a couple options if I fish around for my ship and find something that I can do with it. Let me see here. Blah, 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 blah. What do I have? I can put up a RCS for a little bit more turn and drain, which will be helpful for Quantum Faith. Yeah, let me just toy around with that. Let me see what else do I have on here. If I wanted to go with the boosting of the Protonic Arsenal set to boost photon torpedoes, I could do that. I'm not going to in this case. If I wanted to do something a little bit more crazy, like say use the butterfly core and then get this, I can get the 2-piece, which might help a little bit. This will also help add a little bit more crit hit and crit severity to the ship. If I feel like it's lacking, then I can go with the temporal phase overcharge core, is what I call the butterfly core, and get that 2-piece on there, which will boost Tetrions. But that's a Tetrion build if you want to go with that fun stuff. The 3-piece I personally like because it's pretty damn nice and it also gives me another Omni to play with. But different build altogether. If you wanted to go a little bit crazy, you can go with a little bit more defensive with a tiny bit of offensive capabilities here. 12.5 all weapon damage. Now this all weapon damage has been rumored to not work with torps. I haven't confirmed it one way or the other, but it's there. 2 pieces isn't worth jack squat for this type of thing here, but this gives you a little bit more defensive capabilities. You get this from the Iconian rep. The torpedo, I tested it. It's not that great. It's nice as a quantum, but it really isn't that great. There are better options for you. Oh, let's see. What else can we run on here? If we really want to get funky, can I put the torpedo point defense? No, it's on any heavy escort only. This one, the universal point defense, goes on any ship. Yeah, I wish we could put that on any of the other ships there. Nothing on those bad boys there. Nothing there that I want. No. 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 I could put the cloak, but not going to. It'll be fun. It'll be canon. But I'm not going to on this case. Don't want the web. Want to try to keep this thing purely canon. I could always go with the assimilated module for a little bit more crit chance, crit severity, weapon, power stuff, all regenerate control expertise. Yeah, not really. Nah, not feeling that. This console, I believe, was also free. The Polaric Modulator helps with maneuverability, and as a torp boat, you want to point your nose at the target a lot. This will help a little bit. It will help a little bit. But it is an option. You know, even though it's not an absolute DPS increase per se, maneuverability is a passive DPS increase to you. The better you're able to turn, the better off you are to it. This will be more for a side torp build. Nothing there with that. And nothing here as far as consoles on there. So I could technically play around with this one here if I wanted to attack, be more tanky. I know I'm going to take a lot of hits coming in, so I could throw this one down range. There is a console I'm missing here and I want to put. Tachyo Kinetic Converter. Where did I put that sucker? That's a Lobby console there. So if you're in the Ultra Rich Club, or you spent a lot of time in a game and you built up your resources, that's what you would put in there. Gives you a little more turn, gives you crit hit, gives you crit D. You can't lose with that. You just cannot lose with it at all. Question is, where do I have it? Answer is, somewhere out here. I know I saw you here earlier. Where did you go, Tachyo? See, this is the problem when you have too much stuff and not enough time. I know here you are. I was blind as a bat. Dang it. Why didn't you people tell me this? You saw this here. Why didn't you tell me I had it here? Alright, so this ship should have a lot of turn here at this point. So, what do I do with this last slot? I can add more torps. I could add another beam array. If I do that, I'll probably keep it symmetrical because it looks pretty. So, yeah, I can add a beam array. How about that? We'll add a beam array. Damage 2 pen, crit D damage pen, accuracy damage pen. Let's go with this one. I'd love another overbeam on there, but oh well. Because I like over. It's just fun. It's really fun. Now with this much energy weapons here, I might be able to broadside a little bit. I might start thinking about juicing up my energy weapon power a little bit, which is why I changed my spec a little bit to be able to take advantage of that. I have maximized it, but I did put it in here. As you can see, though, I did go for the three slots in the Science Ultimate. A lot of people who want to min-max don't go for the third part. The hull healing and shield healing is also doubled. But with something like with the Quantum Phase Torpedo and with this other Duff that I'm about to show you right now, the benefits of that are, you feel it. You feel it is extremely nice. This Doff here, Guk or Guk, depending on how you want to pronounce it, has saved my butt many a times. It says, when activating a tactical bridge officer ability, any tactical bridge officer abilities, 99% chance that you get 10% of the next 10 sources of outgoing damage applied as hull healing. Now, most people look at that and they're like, 10% of your next 10 sources of outgoing damage? That's not going to be that much. If you're a torpedo captain and you're juicing up your torps, 10% of 100k is 10k. You do that 10 times, that's a lot of hull healing done to you. With concentrate firepower, yeah, you could do that. You juice up your torps, your average hit on your torps are going to be around in the 100k range. Per torp in a salvo torp. 100k per torp in a salvo torp. And if you're doing a high yield 3, that's 3 torps that you're 4 torps, that you're spitting out. That are doing 100k each. All right, let's just say really low end, 80k. That's a lot of hull healing. That's more hull healing you got. This DOF has single-handedly saved my butt countless times to the point I'm able to drop heals and just slot this bad boy and just say, okay, I'm good. So I can do a big wind up and a punch, and yeah, I'm done. So, assumption 1, I'm done here. All I need to do is slot, I put energy amplifiers here. I'm going to need to put in this and this. You know what was one of our shakedown cruises for this thing? I'm going to get some more deuterium surplus. And I'm going to show you exactly where to get it. Although there's some videos out there that show you exactly where to get it. If you YouTube or Google deuterium surplus STO, they'll show you. We're just going to do a shakedown cruise and get some. So, we have this. Terran Deflector. 2-piece adapted Mako set. Iconian Core. This is good against Tholians. Weapon shutdown, you're set. This 2-piece here gives you plus 25% Cat 1 bonus to torpedoes. I have a kinetic battery. I'm good with all my gear. I want to sit up here. I got my front 3 facing torps and this. I got a 3-piece set bonus going on for the quantum phase. 2-piece for neutronic for the cooldown and radiation damage boost. This crafted quantum torpedo is going to be damage 3 pen because I'm going to have so much crit D coming out of everything. That damage 3 is going to be a force multiplier on top of it. And the pen is a very nice debuff against the target for that torpedo. That's going to bring this sucker on par somewhere between the neutronic and quantum phase as far as raw damage itself. So, now that I'm done here, second thing I'm going to do, swap this fun stuff around. With this ship, since I'm very limited in my BOF seating, bridge officer seating, I'm going to have to be extremely selective in what I do. So in this case, since I'm running with concentrate firepower 3 and most likely 2, since I have enough turn, I'm going to slot a torpedo spread 3. With salvo torps, since I'm going to be running a lot of salvo torps there, no single shot torps like enhanced biomolecular or any of these heavies like the temporal disruption device or the tricobalt launcher, I am going to go with torp spread 3 to start off the chain and then fire a constant stream of high yield 1s using concentrate firepower 3 and concentrate firepower 2, which I should have on this guy. So there we go. Structural integrity collapse will be good for a debuff because it's not for the damage it does, it's for the damage resistance negation that's going to, negative damage resistance is going to apply to the target. FYI, the new Agents of Yesterday skill tree will give us something that will affect dot damage, so this will be nice. Destabilized resonance beam will go back here instead of feedback pulse. So there's that. So that means that this engineering officer that's commander is going to handle my defensive capabilities. Since I'm primarily a torp boat, I won't need emergency power to weapons. I can actually put maneuverability or survivability here if I wanted to. Ooh, this looks good. Ooh, I probably will. I could do more heals. I think RSP is enough for shields. And then I will keep this bad boy on here. I could also run Ox to Bat if I wanted to, but I don't. Then I'll keep that as a heal. That'll be there available for me, because then I could turn better. Although some people will say you probably should put Engineering Team. Hold on. Let me see something. What's the duration on this? 15 seconds versus 15 seconds. But I get better flight speed. Yeah, whatever. I'll take this and swap it with this. There we go. And do I need this really? Emergency power to engines. Won't need much of shield to anything because I have reverse shield polarity. Technically won't need emergency power to weapons, although occasionally it'll give me a weapons power boost. No big deal. So I got science taken care of. I have my engineering taken care of. I have command taken care of here. Torp spread 3, Chemosight, which will replace my attack pattern beta for torps, is loaded there. Attack Team 1 to boost torps and also act as a defensive. Shield redistribution will be there. Here is where I could probably toss in a Fall to give all my energy weapons something to do. And that'll be nice. If you don't want to use Fall, you want to load up with more torps, toss in a high yield one here, especially if you're using a bunch of salvo torps. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, bridge officers are taken care of here. Let's go to traits. I will go with all the free stuff that usually comes in here. You see I have Inspirational Leader because I got lucky with it once. Imposing Presence if I want to be threatful. I can pop that in there. I'm going to actually remove that one. Let me see here. Fleet Coordinator. That's good to have. Definitely good to have. Self-modulating fire. It is so cheap right now. You might as well consider it almost free. Just run a few STF, sell the gear. Probably about 15. Sell the loot that you get off of there and you'll be able to buy one of these. So, self-modulating fire is on outgoing critical hits. Your energy weapons and projectiles, very important, and projectiles gain 50% shield penetration for 10 seconds. And it triggers once every 45 seconds. The 45-second lockout starts after the 10-second expires. This still is bugged with your heavies. Anything that is considered a pet in this game will not benefit from this, which is dumb. But hopefully Cryptic will address this soon. They've addressed some things that have already came out that I'm very happy with them on. And I hope they continue the good work that they're doing. So, we have that there. Crippling Fire is nice for debuffing targets. If you have reciprocity builds, Crippling Fire will be definitely good for you because then they lose their accuracy, they miss you more, you get more cooldowns. You see how that works nicely for you. You can take it or leave it, whatever. I'm unchecking the beam training because I'm not in a beam. Anchored, if I'm going to sit still for a minute, that's powerful. Beam Barrage, I'm not there. Ablative Shell, if you can afford it, get it. It's nice for defensively. If not, or you don't need it, scrap it. Accuracy Overflow is still kind of an iffy thing, especially with Fall and with Torps. So, tend to stay away from that unless you are actually going to go in PvP a lot. What is this one here? I must have got this somewhere at some point in time. This is if you're running a lot of exotics. Ooh, it does have Drain Expertise. But it's, for a personal trait, so-so. Wait a second. Wrong one. She'll regenerate after any bridge officer ability. Is there a lockout on this? 10% chance, I see. 10% chance for doing anything like that. Whereas Inspirational Leader is 10% chance. Activating any bridge officer ability, 10, yeah. So it's kind of like that type of thing, yeah. Plus whatever shield regeneration when activating any bridge officer ability. Yeah, it depends. If you want more shields, you can run with that. The one I wanted to do here, where are you? If you wanted to, you can do Intimidating Strikes. If you ever get that one, that should still be cheap. If you're a side torpor, you definitely want Invasive Control Programming. Use Tractor Beams, Grav Wells, whatever. Those things will I can't even. There's episodes for that, so you'll see that there. Kinetic precision. Once you get into torpedo R&D 15, this works against shielded targets and does butt kiss for you versus unshielded. But, slot it if you know you're going to go up against a lot of shielded targets. Every little bit of bleed through does help with your damage. So we have that. Let me see what else is one of the other free ones that I can remember. You want the torpedo one. Where is it? This one, if you want to keep your threat down. 1.5% crit severity is nothing. The minus 25% threat generation is typically what you want to do. But in this case, I can care less. Operative, if you got nothing better, then yes, slot that. Projectile training, here it is. Plus 5% projectile weapon damage. Slot it. Rest of these can be defensive or offensive. You just pick them. If you're light on personal traits, pick the ones that make sense. For the most part, the description on these are good. Even if you just have defensive, every little bit does help. As you start getting more resources to get more of these other traits, you can start slotting them in there. Pattern recognition only works if you can stay in combat constantly. Otherwise, forget it. If you're going to drop in and out of combat constantly, forget it. Same thing with some other ones here, like momentum. It could work, it couldn't work, it depends. Last-ditch effort. I might pick that because I haven't picked it in a while. See if the resist actually works again. Intimidating strikes is cool for a while. This one, again, is a really long build-up. I mean, accuracy, 6% shield penetration, If you're sitting at a target long enough, yes. I see this kind of sort of useful in Hive, but I also have more traits, so that kind of fell to the wayside. Failsafe Scrambler, while it's more of a PvP thing, this can save you a little bit in PvE. Elusive is always good for increasing your defense, so you can slot that there. I don't care for crippling fire. Let me see here. Coalition Starship Tactics. Not really. Where was one that I had here? Now, Fleet Coordinator is already on there, so all damage per team. Yeah, that's pretty much the basics there. I'm going to lose out on a little bit of crit severity. Whoop-de-bloody-do. You know what? I'm going to drop Elusive and get a little bit more. Where did I see that bad boy? There. Operative. It's teeny weeny, but it's a little bit of something. Now, again, this is a quasi-rich build. Invincible. Got that there from the Zal ship. As I said earlier, all hands on deck is from the Presidio. I'm speaking Fed side. I'm not going to be using improved feedback pulse, and I'm not going to be using emergency weapon cycle. Instead, with all the energy weapons that I have here, even though they're not all forward facing, I'd use turrets for that. I'd go with weapon system synergy. Still slightly bugged, but it's still good for the salvo torps that I'm using. Eventually I would get a plus 25% Cat 1 bonus and 50% shield pen for 10 seconds whenever this thing procs. So I could fall, hit all the targets. It's a weapon cycle shot. And then, suddenly, boom, I nail targets. Every once in a while, this one will line up with self-modulating fire, and I have approximately a 4-second window of 100% shield pen. Targets die. Quickly. Very quickly. If I know I'm going to be going in with a bunch of teams, and there's going to be one major target at the end, I pick numerical superiority, again from the Hestia. If not, I can go with anything here. Overwhelming force is fun with high yield builds. Especially when you doff it. It gets really stupid, really fun. This one here was a very expensive trait at the time, and the prices went up stupidly high. Torpedo Barrage from the Shashar. Every time you fire a high yield one, once every 30 seconds, you get a free high yield one. It sometimes trips up with concentrate firepower, but it is still very useful. It is very nice. If you have money, go ahead and get it. That thing is just stupidly handy for you. Space reps. Enhanced armor penetration. No brainer. Beautiful thing. Get it. With the philosophy that I have now with low crit hit, high crit D because of the Science Ultimate probability shell, I've foregone getting, let me see here, let's get rid of some of this other stuff here because I was more defensive here. You don't need auxiliary power configuration defensive, but you do need aux power configuration offensive. Get that from the Nukara rep. That is beautiful. Get it. Love it. Use it. So, between these two, let me just keep this for symmetry here. What else do I get as far as using for torpedoes? Well, the two bread and butters that you want. Torpedo pre-fire sequence. The destructible torpedo flight speed is garbage. You'll see one of my other videos how much garbage it is. But you get it for the damage. Want it, keep it, use it. The second one you want to get, if you're just a straight up pure torp boat, not heavy science, you want that, and you want Omega Kinetic shearing. When Agent of Yesterday comes out, this will receive a quality of life fix and improvement. Instead of over 6 seconds, this will actually count when the new expansion comes out. This will count its damage, the 40% damage, off of the player buff torpedo prior to shield mitigation. Now, for those who don't understand the mechanics here, whenever your torpedo hits a shielded target, 75% of that damage is gone. So if I hit a target with a 100k torpedo hit, 75k of it is gone. It does nothing to the shield. It does nothing to the hull. It just does nothing at all. And then the other 25% is now applied to that target shield, and whatever bleed through goes into whatever bleed through value is for that shield will go to the hull. So that's the stupidity of it all. 75% is gone. Omega Kinetic shearing, as it works right now, will only calculate the damage of that dot, the 40% of that damage that actually makes it to hull. So, off of that 100k shot, 75% of it is gone, 25% is applied to the shield and bleed through, and if the shield has 10% bleed through, that's 2.5k of that damage actually going to the hull. And then it's 40% of that 2.5k that is there. So it's about 1k-ish. 800 to a k. 1,000. That actually is counted as the dot damage to the target. With the fix / mechanics change in Agents of Yesterday, Omega Kinetic shearing will calculate that damage prior to the shield negation and any hull resistance. And then the dot will then factor in on the hull resistance, whether it be positive or negative. So that 100k torpedo prior to the shield, Omega Kinetic shearing will calculate 40% of that 100k or 40k of that damage will now be going up against the hull. And then that 40k will have to work against the hull's resistance, whether it's positive or negative. If you debuff that target, that 40k dot is going to be worth more. So you can see, versus a shielded target with 100k torp going in, that change is going to be a huge quality of life improvement for torpedo ships. Get this trait. Get this trait. Before, and I used to say if you're doing like a really quick ISA run, if your target time to live is less than 3 seconds, do not use this, because a lot of the targets in there are shielded, and even if they were unshielded, with less than 3 seconds of the target time to live, you're not going to get the full damage out of this trait. Don't use it. Now, with the change coming up, even with that target time to live, I'm going to have to redo the calculations for that, but even with that target time to live being less than 3 seconds, I think that Omega Kinetic Shearing will actually be valuable now. So you'll want to keep it no matter what. This now makes these two traits, Omega Kinetic Shearing and Torpedo Pre-Fire Sequence, invaluable for any torp heavy or pure kinetic boat that's out there. That is just, quite frankly, invaluable. Do not give it up. Ever. Ever. I'll do the hard math for it, but do not give it up. Omega Graviton Amplifier, don't slot this. Do not slot this. It's horrible. Don't even bother. Don't. This too low of a percent chance to trigger on any torpedo mine attacks. This isn't boosted by anything. Forget it. Don't bother with it. Just as an FYI. Again, for the type of build that I'm doing, I'm going to have low crit hit, so I won't need precision. What I will want is, where did I put that? Advanced targeting systems. Improves crit severity. That right there. So these are done. Obviously, your active space reputations are there. So we have traits. We have personal traits, starship traits, space traits. We have bridge officer stations here. We have the ship selection here for the gear loadout. All we need to do now is beam into space, set up the ship, and we'll be on our way. Now, I will spare you all the boring details of how I set up this damn thing so that you won't kill yourselves. And when I resume here, you will be able to see everything. I'll give you the DOF loadout and be done with it. See you shortly.